Hello friends, welcome to my channel. Today we're going to be reading Where the Wild Things Are. The story and pictures are by Maurice Sendak. This is one of my favorite books when I was a child. I used to love it when my teacher would read it to me. Our story begins. The night Max wore his wolf suit and made mischief of all kinds. And another. His mother called him Wild Thing, and Max said, "I'll eat you up." So he was sent to bed without eating anything. That very night, in Max's room, a forest grew. And grew. And grew until his ceiling hung with vines and the walls became the world all around. And an ocean tumbled by with a private boat for Max, and he sailed off through the night and day. And in and out of the weeks and almost over a year to where the wild things are. And when he came to the place where the wild things are, they roared their terrible roars and gnashed their terrible teeth. And rolled their terrible eyes and showed their terrible claws. Till Max said, "Be still," and tamed them with the magic trick of staring into all their yellow eyes without blinking once, and they were frightened and called him the most wild thing of all. And made him king of all wild things. And now, cried Max, let the wild rumpus start. stop, Max said, and sent the wild things off to bed without their supper. And Max, the king of all wild things, was lonely and wanted to be where someone loved him best of all. Then all around, from far away across the world, he smelled good things to eat, so he gave up being king of where the wild things are. But wild things cried, "Oh, please don't go. We'll eat you up. We love you so." And Max said, "No." The wild things roared their terrible roars and gnashed their terrible teeth and rolled their terrible eyes and showed their terrible claws. But Max stepped into his private boat and waved goodbye. And sailed back over a year and in and out of weeks and through a day. And into the night of his very own room, where he found his supper waiting for him. And it was still hot. And now the second book I'll be reading is On Duck Pond by Jane Yolen and illustrated by Bob Marshall. But before we do, please do me a favor. Hit the like button and subscribe, and tell me in the comments where you're listening from. So let's begin. On Duck Pond. As I walked by the old duck pond, its stillness as the morning dawn, was shattered by a raucous call, a quack of ducks, both large and small. Down they splashed, the water spattered, then they chittered, whistled, and chattered. Trout and turtles turned and scattered. A frog leaped off his lily pad, quite surprised and very mad. A heron flew by, back to her nest. Tadpoles hid, which they do best. Old Duck Pond once stood quiet and still, now seemed battered by the riot. Ducks and reeds and sky and grass all trembled in the water's glass. And my reflection too looked strange. Every part of me was changed. I looked like I'd been rearranged. But soon the raft of ducks moved on, and soon all signs of riot gone. And animals troubled by the splash now marked new water roads to dash. The frog swam back to his old pad, forgotten was the scare he had. The pond now still, reflections grew, doubling creatures old and new. An understanding quickly dawned. We'd shared a shock and now a bond. I was feeling very fond of everyone on Old Duck Pond as I walked home. The end. Thanks for listening. Sweet dreams, and God bless you and keep you. The Lord make his face shine on you and be gracious to you. The Lord turn his face toward